After days of controversy and questions about the health of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, we now know why he ended up in intensive care. The Pentagon announcing Austin has prostate cancer. We don't know the specific details of his diagnosis and prognosis for that matter. What we do know is this: 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. It is the second leading cancer-causing death for men in the United States. This according to the American Cancer Society. But here's the thing. If found early, it is easily managed. Yet many men are still reluctant to get checked. Joining me now is Kelly Hendershot. She's the Vice President of Mission Delivery for the organization Cancer Support Community. Thanks so much for joining us on Scripps News Live. Let's start with this, Kelly, because there is a stigma around prostate cancer screenings. I mean, just this morning, I heard a popular radio host speculate that the reason the Defense Secretary did not initially disclose the type of surgery he was having is because it's embarrassing. What do you think it is about this, and what is being done to change this? Because getting screened, we know, it can save lives.
Absolutely. And first, thank you for having me on. It can be very embarrassing for men to talk about their health and their symptoms, what they might be facing. Sometimes there is that feeling that there's incompetence, something that they did wrong that leads to a cancer diagnosis, which is not the case. There's a lot of different reasons that somebody could end up with prostate cancer. And so it can be a little bit embarrassing to talk about because there is that stigma tied to there's something wrong with you because you have this cancer diagnosis. So it's really important for us to be discussing today.
It's certainly so, and we know that prostate cancer can happen to men of any age, right? It's certainly much more common in men 65 and above, and unfortunately that generation, as a generalization, has a much more difficult time just going to the doctor for wellness checks as opposed to going when something's actually wrong. So how can we, as daughters, as wives, as partners, as friends, encourage men to get those important screenings?
Well, and I'm the daughter of somebody who had prostate cancer, so I do personally know how important this is. There are some key things to be aware of. First of all, if you're 50 and over as a male, you should be getting a prostate cancer screening. That age goes down. It's even earlier, 45. If you have a high risk, that means that you're either an African American man or your father or a son, a direct relative, has a cancer diagnosis of prostate cancer themselves. And then that age is even lower, age 40, if your father, your son, a direct relative had prostate cancer at an early age. So as women, as daughters, what we can do is just be aware of some of the symptoms that the men in our lives might be facing. Weak urine streams, blood in the urine or in semen, swelling in their legs, discomfort, especially lymph nodes areas can be an indicator, bone pain, sudden weight loss, feeling unusually tired. Those are all signs where the body's trying to tell us that there's something wrong. So just being encouraging to the men in our lives, reminding them that checkups, going to your doctor if something does feel off is incredibly important.
Incredibly important. In 2018, recommendations on prostate cancer testing changed from those 2012 guidelines. Now, one of the main changes was that men 55 to 69 years old who are at average risk for prostate cancer should talk with their doctor about the benefits and harms of such testing. So what are the dangers of these kinds of proposed changes? Because now it's a question of, does this test do more harm than good?
Yeah, and I think that is something that you have to definitely talk to your medical professional about. As a social worker, I can't answer some of those specific medical questions, but things to just be aware of is many of us have heard of the PSA testing. So that is the prostate specific antigen test. It's a blood test, and so it's looking for high levels of PSA in your bloods. There could also be a digital rectal exam as part of the testing. So I think we tend to get scared and worried about the immediate uncomfortability of some of these tests, and it's just a matter of being able to advocate for yourself, being able to advocate for the men in your life to ask those questions to make that a little less scary. Because that little discomfort, some of the risks are absolutely something that are individual and you need to talk to your primary doctor about. But to know that for your personal situation, to weigh the balances is very important to any individual.
Men who are 70 and older, we're told, should not undergo routine prostate cancer screenings. Why is that?
Again, not being a medical professional, I think it's just something where we aren't having people screen as late into life. But if you have any of those risk factors, that 70 is still just a general guideline. If somebody in your life does have a prostate cancer diagnosis, I think it's still very important to talk to your physician about and see if it's something that's important in your specific situation.
Kelly Hendershot with Cancer Support Community, thanks so much for talking with us. Super important about early diagnosis when it comes to this.
Thank you.
This just in, a judge ruled former President Donald Trump cannot give his own closing arguments in that New York fraud trial we've been following. Those closing arguments were set to happen tomorrow. Judge Arthur Engeron rescinded his permission for the former president to do this, and this comes after Trump's lawyers objected to the judge's request for Trump to stick to, quote, relevant matters regarding the trial in his closing argument. That's seemingly the rift here. Hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line for Trump, and he may no longer be allowed to do business in New York.
Thanks so much for watching Scripps News Live. I'm Carolyn Brooke.
And I'm Lauren Magarino. For the audience leaving us, your local programming is next. Remember, you can always check us out on scripsnews.com. And if you're staying with us, there's more headed your way on Scripps News Live. We'll see you on the other